Hi, everybody. It's Fridays with Sandy. I'm Sandy. We've got a candidate named Alex. Alex, hi. Could you introduce yourself and tell us where you went to school, where you worked, and what you want to do? And could you do that?
Sure. Thanks, Sandy. Hi, everyone. My name's Alex. As Sandy mentioned, I went to the University of New Hampshire for undergrad, a class of 2021. I studied
How
nutrition.
old are you?
I am 25 now, and will be
Okay, that's the
26 in
perfect
July.
age. That's in
Mhm.
the ballpark.
Okay, great. So yes, class of 2021, studied nutrition dietetics. I'm a registered
Okay, this is real important. People don't. You've got an unusual major, so tell us
dietitian.
about that. What is
Yes.
nutrition dietetics?
So dietetics is simply the requirement to become a registered dietitian. It's just a classification, a type of nutrition. And so when I completed that, I went on to my supervised practice requirement with Simmons University. They call that the dietetic
Okay, stop.
intensive.
So part of this gig to be a dietitian is you need a year after you get your BS or as to do a kind of what you call similar to a medical internship.
Correct. Yep. It's a supervised practice requirement before you can sit for your boards.
Okay, and where did you do that?
Simmons University in the heart of Boston. And in that, you rotate through a couple different settings. So I worked at the Department of Public Health, a community state-run hospital called the Lemuel Shattuck Hospital in Jamaica Plain, as
Good,
well as some other practice settings there.
good. And that after you fulfilled that requirement, is it correct to say you then had your first full-time job after education?
Correct. Yep, exactly.
And good. And where was it?
So I'm currently still there. I'm at Project Bread. We're an anti-hunger nonprofit service organization that is based in East Boston, but we serve the entire states.
Can you give
Uh,
me some metrics about Project Bread? I take it it's a nonprofit, as you said.
mhm.
Does it have an endowment or size or number of people, number of employees? This is
Yep.
something
So
everyone has to be able to do. And
exactly. Yeah.
in your case, it's a lot easier to explain. I work for McKinsey Consulting. People go, "Oh, really? I think I know what that is." Okay.
Yes. Yes. So our headcount is around 80 folks right now. I'm on the healthcare partnerships team, and that's valued around 20 people right now, but it was founded in 2020. So it's 4 years in the running. We've had a lot of growth since then. In terms of their valuation, I think
You
they're
list
around,
on your resume, you say you're the coordinator of healthcare partnerships.
yeah, I'm in a coordinator role, and the healthcare partnerships is our team. Yes.
What does that mean?
So it's a
I'm,
direct
I'm, I'm
service
being hard
role.
on you because this is hard to do for many people, and in your case, it's hard because there's a lot of jargon in the healthcare field,
Yes.
which is fine and normal, but people don't know it. There's a lot of jargon in the consulting field, but
Mhm.
people often do know that.
Right. Yeah. So the healthcare partnerships team, we partner with health centers throughout the state. And so a patient can go into a health center and talk to their provider and say, hey, I'm food insecure. I don't have enough food at home. They can actually refer that client, as long as they're a Mass Health Medicaid member, to our program. And then I am talking to that patient over the phone and providing different supports. So we can enable them to be connected to food vouchers, to kitchen supplies, to other social services organizations, as well as long-term food and nutrition support through the SNAP EBT program, Women, Infants, and Children's program, et cetera. So a lot
Okay,
of
that's you do that's impressive and impactful work. What you've got to be more conversational.
mm,
What you have to do is internalize it. So if
mm,
somebody says, "Well, what is Project Bread and what do you do?" You've got to make it more conversation.
okay, great. Yeah, I could potentially could start with a story, example of
Well,
client.
give it a try for the folks in the peanut gallery at home. Let them because they've got to be able to do that. themselves for their jobs. So
Mhm.
let's hear you try it.
Yeah, so a day-to-day for me is I would get referrals with patients.
From
Um,
scratch. Hey, hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. I see that you work for Project Bread as the coordinator of their healthcare partnerships. What is that and what do you do?
mhm. So I'm working in direct service in community. Day to day, I'm speaking with
I
patients
don't know
with,
what Project Bread is.
okay. So Project Bread, we're an anti-hunger nonprofit service organization, and on their healthcare partnerships team, I'm a coordinator there. We receive referrals from patients throughout the state who identify as food insecure, and I am on the phone with them, helping to arrange different nutrition support services.
You're getting better, but you still haven't nailed this. What you haven't nailed is just what Project Bread is in two sentences.
Well, we're a leading nonprofit organization in Massachusetts who believes in ending hunger throughout the state.
That's worthy, but it's not all that helpful in telling me the metrics and how many people work there. And
Okay. Yeah. So I certainly can add some metrics to that pitch. Yeah.
could you give me a
Mhm.
roadmap of what you want to do after business school? What would be your first job, and what would be a job after that? And where
Mhm.
would you like to wind up?
Yeah, first job after my MBA, I'd love to move into nonprofit consulting. I'm particularly interested in firms like the Bridgespan Group or Wellspring. And I'd like to leverage after a couple of years of getting some nonprofit
Okay,
consulting.
that's a good answer. Being able to point and name firms.
Mhm.
You established the genre. After business school, I'd be interested in nonprofit consulting. Firms that really appeal to me are the Bridgespan Group,
Mhm.
and then suppose the interviewer said, "Well, who are they and what do they do?"
Right. So they provide consulting to mission-based orgs, whether they're philanthropies or nonprofits, and they help with any variety of projects, whether it's creating their strategic plan or helping with whatever funding issue they might be having. So I'd love to leverage
Yeah.
that
If you could
experience.
just a general hint, if you could just de-jargonize that. The Bridgespan
Okay.
Group is a really impressive group. They're one of the largest NGOs. They work in areas like this, and this. Some of their successful projects have been blah, blah, and blah.
Hmm.
Make it more like that. Do you
Okay.
understand the difference?
Totally. Yeah, thanks. That's helpful. But in terms of long-term goals, like you mentioned, Sandy, eventually I want to take what I learned from consulting different types of philanthropies, mission-based orgs to either lead or found my own nonprofit in the health and human services space.
That's a very impressive goal. Uh, one of my favorite questions is name three people, and this is real important for you. This could be real important. If you don't know it now, it's fine.
Mhm.
If you do some homework, name three people who are role models for you.
Mm. One person who's a role model for me, he doesn't own a nonprofit, but he's an HBS grad of 2010, and he founded Season. They're integrating clinical care, nutrition education, meal recommendations, food delivery into this really wonderful health tech platform. And so he's got an MBA. He's doing really great stuff in the food and nutrition space. And yeah, I look up to him. There are
Good,
some,
that's a good answer. And do some more homework.
yep.
It's fun and you'll sound smart
Mhm.
about the field,
Okay.
which is helpful. What sometimes there's a nasty question. Uh,
Mm.
what do you need in terms of both personal growth and training to become a leader like the guy you named?
The business acumen. I come from a health sciences background. I've worked in direct patient care, so I can speak to clinical operations, but I don't necessarily have the quantitative skills, the strategy, all of the thinking that is really important for a business leader is what I'm hoping to gain in an MBA program through class and extracurriculars.
Good. That's a good answer. What has been the most challenging leadership role you've ever played?
Yeah, in patient care, you're leading every day. You're experiencing people who come from a variety of different backgrounds who are in a really tough spot. And so leadership for me looks like trying to
Okay,
navigate some of those challenges.
leadership, as business schools understand it,
Yeah.
is a little different than one-on-one client interaction.
Mhm.
Leading other people, what's the largest number of people you've ever led on a project?
On a project, probably about 4 or 5, so a smaller group. Just recently, I was working on an evaluation project at Project Bread to kind of evaluate some of our clinical and nutrition and
Okay,
education.
that's a great answer. A leadership role I played recently was evaluating Project Bread's own a couple of projects that we have going, and I was leading 4 or 5 people, and they sometimes ask another nasty question. If I asked those people what kind of leader you are, what would they say?
They'd say I'm very proactive, prepared. I really try to make every client meeting as informative as possible. So we make use of our time, and they can really count on me to get the outcomes that I'm looking for done. So I think they would say I'm a doer.
Uh, this is just a tip. I'm not saying whether it happened or not, but one of the hallmarks of leadership at these business schools is the ability to lead different people in different ways.
Mhm.
So, a good way to structure an answer about leadership is they say, well, if you ask those 5 people were different. One of them was in this situation, and they would say I was a hands on leader because they needed hands on help.
Mhm.
And one of them would say that I was a hands off leader because she knew what I wanted and just gave me directions as to how I could do it.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's a good uh, uh, formula to keep in mind.
Yeah, thank you.
The schools you're looking at are, sorry if I said this before, Booth, Kellogg, Yale, Duke, Tuck, Cornell, and BU. The admit rate to those schools is more or less 20 to 25%. Yale is 19, and Tuck is Cornell is 27, and BU is 37. So you're looking at uh, five or six or so schools with an admit rate of 20%. Have you gone to forums or tried to reach out to these schools?
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of informational interviewing with either previous students, current students, and one of the schools I visited in person, Cornell, and their diversity hosting week in October. So I've been able to get a feel of the students and the schools themselves, and I'll continue to do that for some schools I haven't quite connected with.
Good, yeah, because you're in a kind of networky field, like
Mm.
food, uh, serving people who are needy, the poor. Those are the people who are attracted to those professions are networky kind of people themselves. So
Mhm.
your ability to network yourself into these schools is almost an unstated part of the admissions process, if,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Hmm. Yeah.
Has anyone from Project Bread gone on to get an MBA, particularly from your groups, the groups you've worked at?
No. So it would be, I recognize it's definitely an untraditional or non-traditional path, as some of them call it, for the MBA programs. But part of the networking and things that I'm doing in advance has helped me feel like secure in how to tell my story and, yeah, how to look at my non-traditional background as an asset to a cohort. There's a lot of ways
Yeah,
that
that's good. You got
easily.
the lingo and the smarts for this.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, the tough love again about the GRE. Boy,
Okay.
if you could kick that up, it could mean money.
Yeah.
It could mean increased admission. It could mean increased scholarship.
It's
Your scores are okay. You could
right.
just do yourself so much. There's nothing you can do that could
Hmm.
help you as much as kicking that up.
Okay. Yeah. It's good to hear.
And that includes getting a letter of recommendation from the Pope. Okay.
Hmm.
Man, you really have a lot going for you, particularly the fact that you're a speaker at the Northeastern University Impact Investment Fund
Hmm.
Sustainable Investing Summit. What did you say?
I was on a panel of food security and nutrition food systems folks. So I was talking about the nonprofit space and what we do. Others were more in food tech, food business. So it was a really diverse experience, but really talking about the return on investing in communities and how, at least from the nonprofit space, that we have to rely on funding. So for us, outcomes is just so
Okay, you're
important.
still. It's okay to talk to me that way.
Yeah.
You got to de-jargonize it. That's my
Okay.
advice to you.
Yeah.
I would hate for you to lose something really good based on your story,
Mhm.
uh, because they go, she's full of jargon. As soon as she gets called on in class, everybody's going to look at their phone. Okay, that's that's something you don't want
Yeah.
the admissions committee to say.
Hmm.
And yeah, point made. I think you got it. Okay, here's my last question. If I'm reading this correctly, what has the impact of being a triplet been on your life and development?
A lot. I grew up with a critically ill sister. She was in a hospital pretty much most of my
Okay,
childhood.
you're a triplet.
I am. Yep.
It's not you've got two other sisters out there. You're
I'm the triplet, yes. So
yeah.
I have two identical sisters. I'm fraternal to them, which is pretty uncommon, but it was pretty growing up in the clinical space because of my sister was what motivated me to get into patient care anyway. And having been in the patient care realm, that's also shaped how I want to keep continuing to move forward my career. So triplets has had a huge influence on me. They're my best friends, and of course, they had that influence on my career as well.
Good. That's a great answer. You're gonna do fine. Yeah, I think your chances at your target schools are solid. I think your chances of getting interviewed at these places are, I don't know, man, 30%, 35%. If you could kick the
Mhm.
GRE up.
Mhm.
Did you ever think of applying to Harvard or Wharton?
Thought about it. Of course, I'd like to, but I do want to make it realistic. Like you mentioned, already my list is pretty um, reach like in terms of the percentage acceptance rate. So I wasn't sure if adding
That
a little.
doesn't make it a reach
Okay.
for you. Yeah, these schools, you're online for these schools.
Okay.
These are schools where you should. A reach for you would be Wharton or
Yeah.
do me a favor, apply to Harvard. By the application writes itself after you've done these other things.
Okay. Okay.
If it's still the same,
Hmm.
you could write the Harvard essay. If this is still the case, is we've read all your stuff. We've read your recommendations and your transcripts uh, and your resume. Then they say, what else do you want us to know about you?
Mm.
You've got such a great answer for that.
Yeah. Okay.
That could combine the starting out with being a triplet and then how that developed into your goals and why Harvard is good for you and what role models that you could write a great answer to that. And by the time the rest of the application would be filled out by doing the other ones. So
Right. Yeah,
it's just, I think it's worth a long shot.
it is. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'm impressed. You're going to get into many of these places and go on to help people. So it was my pleasure meeting you. Uh,
Pleasure is mine. Thanks, Sandy, for helping me work through this and for giving me some tough love. I appreciate that.
Great. Okay. Thanks for joining us and let us know how stuff works out. Okay.
Will do. Take care. Bye-bye.